If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Today we are continuing on with our Filament Admin Panel series, and I have shown you two different ways of creating resources for our project. There is a third way that I think is by far the easier way to do a lot of different things. So let's head over to the Filament documentation and take a look. Now in the documentation under Admin Panel, again, Resources and Getting Started, here are some different options. So we've created a simple modal resource and we've just created a general resource. So now we can actually automatically generate the forms and tables. But what it does require is for us to install the Doctrine debal. So we're going to copy that, head into whatever terminal you'll be using. Go ahead, paste that in and install it. Now that that's done, let's head back. And now we can go ahead and use this command like we did with the roles, except we need to add this generate flag on it. So since we have the table in our database, we'll go ahead and do PHP artisan, make filament resource. We'll call it user, and then we will throw the generate flags on that. So let's go and see what we have now. If we go to app filament, you see here we have the user resource here, and we have our folder just like we did before. So let's go ahead and start working on this in here. As you can see, we have the model, and this is in our app models folder, so it's fine. We don't have to import anything else. We have the navigation icon, which is the hero icon collection. We'll fix that later. But as you can see, our form is already pre-filled out, and we're going to make some changes to this. But for now, this is pretty good. So it already has validation on it. And if you go down to the table section, then you see we have the text column, Boolean column. These are all the other fields that we have. And again, we do need to add the delete action on here. I don't know why it's not making that, but it hasn't been doing it, so it's fine. But we'll just do that. So let's go and see what we have now. Okay, so now we have the user right here. And if you take a look, here's what we have. We have our super admin. These are all admins. Here's our Boolean fields, the email verified, two-factor secret. We're not going to need all of these. We generally don't really need all of that, but we'll deal with that now. So let's go ahead and start working on some of these. Before I forget, something that we need to do too is add the soft deletes to the user model. And we don't have it here, so we'll go ahead and add it to our list of traits here. So soft deletes. And that's good to go. So now let's head over to the resource and start working on that. We can close this as well. Okay, so let's start with our table. The name is fine. The isAdmin is fine. What I want to add here is the sortable. And we can actually do searchable too. And let me copy these in case we need it elsewhere. We have the email here. We can also add those fields here. And we don't really need the verified. We don't need these. And we don't need these. Okay, and we'll just leave the created at and add the, let's see, let's go to the role resource and copy that date and time. Okay, and let's import this. And we also need to add, let's see, text column, make deleted at, and we can also add the same sort of thing here. Let's go and see what we have. Users, oh, I forgot to add that to the users table. So we'll go ahead and open this up, and we can just create a new migration. So PHP artisan, and we'll just call it add soft deletes to users table. Okay, and let's go ahead and configure that now. And it should be at the very bottom. In here, all we need to do is use Laravel's helper, and we'll do table, soft deletes, and we'll put it after the profile photo path. Okay, and for the drop, we'll do table, drop, soft deletes, and that should be good. Okay, let's try to migrate that. Good, so now we have that column, we have the created at, and one thing that I do want to add here too is the roles, because these are the usernames, and so I want to have the roles to display here as well. So now we can really close this, and we can close out the migration, and we can do this over here. So we'll do it after the is admin column, and we'll just do text column make. Since we have the relationship of user roles, we can just add that here, and then we'll just use the name from the roles table. And this will also make sortable and searchable. Let's go and make sure that this is being displayed correctly. Okay, good. So we have the role names and we have everything good to go, and we don't have any deleted at yet, but we will. Let's go ahead and try to go over to the new user. And as you can see, we already have some fields filled, obviously because we did that generate flag. But let's go ahead and remove some of these things that we're not using. Okay, so let's head up to where the form is being displayed. We can keep name. Is admin is already a Boolean, which is good. We have the email. Max length is 255. All of that is fine. We don't need the email verified at. All of these we can get rid of as well. So let's go and see what that looks like now. A lot cleaner. Now, what we want to do is we want to be able to, when we create the user, we want to be able to add whatever role we're going to give them. Let's go ahead and work on that. For that, what we're going to use is a checkbox list, make roles, and let's go ahead and make sure this is imported as well. Okay. So now we need to give the relationship of roles, and we need to add the name to be able to display the role name. We're going to make it in 2 columns. And then I also want some helper text on this as well. And it's going to say only choose one. We'll just go ahead and make sure it's required as well. Okay, let's go ahead and try to create a user. And here are our list of roles. Let's go ahead and try to pre-fill some things. We'll make them an admin. That's fine. And let's see. I'm just going to make them, we'll make them a developer. That's okay. And again, we only want to choose one. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. Okay, so it's been created. So we do have to have that redirect that we did with the permissions. But let's go ahead to the index and go to the end. Okay, so Caesar Anthony is admin, developer, email, and deleted at. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and add that redirect now before I forget. I'll just grab it from one of these pages. Okay, and it's right here. And we can do the edit. And we can do the create. Okay, so let's close this. And we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and try to edit this user that we just created. First, let's refresh it. Okay, we'll go ahead and try to edit this one. And let's say I want to now change this user to a moderator. So as you can see, we don't have the password now. We know that this user has a password because we just created this user. We're going to make some changes to this password, kind of like we did with the roles, where we had to have some sort of a way of doing things conditionally. And passwords are very different from how we did the name in the roles field. Let's go and work on this. We can close these out and head straight to the resource. And right here where we're displaying the password, this is going to be very difficult for me to explain, but I'm hoping that I explain it as clearly as possible because I'm still very much learning Livewire and still very much learning Filament as well, okay? The first validation that we have here is that it is a password, and that is absolutely fine. What we need to do now is to dehydrate state using, and then we need a static function. And this static function, it's either going to be null or a string, and that's what we're going to be defining as the state. Here, we want to say null or string equals. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and drop some of these down so it's a little bit clearer to read. Okay, and then null string equals. We're going to go down another line, and then we're going to do filled state. If the state is filled, we are either going to hash make the state, or we're going to leave it as null. Basically, if there is no state, if it's filled, it's either going to be hashed or null. If we have a state, meaning we are on the edit page like we are, that should have a password in it. We don't have to know or see or know anything about it, but we have to have that state within that field. So this is basically just trying to find out whether or not that state is going to have to be made. And if it does, then we're going to hash it. And if not, then we're going to leave it null. We don't have to touch it because it's the user password. So let's go ahead and import this. So now we can move this line over, and actually we can bring this required up here. So then it's going to be required. And then we're going to do another static function. And this is going to be looking for the page, as in the filament page. So we'll go ahead and import that. And then we are going to look for Livewire. And then we're going to use Livewire. And then this is going to be a string equals Livewire instance of create user. And this create user is coming from this create user page that we have here, where it's calling the resource, and it's just basically the create page from here. And then we can move this over, and then we can do, actually, I do want to bring this one up. I'll put it under the password. And okay, let's continue on. So now we have the required function for it. And now we need to look for the dehydrated static function. And again, null or string state. And then it's going to be null and string of the state. We're going to be looking for a Boolean. And we'll fill it with the state. I feel like I have too many. Well, we'll find out in a bit. Maybe here. Get rid of this one. Maybe this one. And now we have the dehydrated. And what we can also do is make a label. And this label will be static function page Livewire. String equals Livewire instance of edit user. And again, this edit user is a page within our filament resource right here, edit user. It's saying the same as here. And then if it is that, then we'll have new password. So if we want to change the password, then we can, or password. Okay, and let's drop that down so it looks a bit neater. Basically, again, we're just going to go over it really quick. We're just basically going to display a password conditionally. If it's an edit page, then it will have the user's password. And if that's the case, then it won't throw up a validation error. We'll just leave it the way it is. It's already filled. Okay, so true, filled. And if it is on the edit page, then the label will be new password. And if not, then it'll be password. But either way, it is required based on what page that we're on. So let's go ahead and see if this now works for us. Okay, we'll go ahead and refresh this. Again, we're going to try to change it to moderator. And as you can see, the label for this now says new password. And now let's see if we can change it without error. Okay, fantastic. We've been brought back to the index page, which means it was successful. We have a save notification up here, and if you take a look here, Caesar Anthony, still an admin, and is now a moderator, and we haven't had to change anything else. Now let's go ahead and make sure we can also create a new user without issue. I'll just use that, and you can't be a super admin, Irma, sorry. And then the password should be filled in, and you're a developer, so we'll go ahead and make you an admin and create. So it's been created, and let's go and double check. Irma Warren, also an admin, is a developer, has an email, and we're good to go. Now let's go ahead and work on our delete functionality. What we want to do is we want to make sure that that deleted at is displayed here in different ways. So we'll go ahead and try to delete Irma since she tried to be a super admin. We'll go ahead and delete. So now it's gone from here, but let's check the database. We go ahead, refresh it. Go to users. Let's redirect it so that we get the last users. Irma Warren is admin, email. This is all the information we have. And we put that deleted at almost at the end, but before created at. So we do have a deleted at, but we can't see her. So now what we need to do is use what's called a filter. We'll head down to the table. And as you can see here, there's a little section in the table for filters. So I'm going to go ahead and just add it here. And what we're going to use is a trashed filter. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to have a little bit of a drop down. So let's go and see what that looks like. So now we have a little bit of a search filter. And as you can see, we didn't have to do any sort of configuration for it. That's all we had to do was add that filter. And because it's with trashed, it knows that we want the deleted records. So we can look at it without deleted records like we're looking at it now. We can look at it with deleted records. We'll go back to the end. You can see here, it's listed with all of the other users. It is listed with the deleted at filled in. And we can also take a look at only deleted records. And as you can see, we can see it right here. And let's see, what is this reset filters thing? Okay, so that just gets rid of everything. Let's head back to the back, and that should basically have just put us back at the beginning. So we've set up a filter for our users table. So now I also want to set up a relation manager for the users so that we can see their roles listed down here. So we'll open this up. It's going to be PHP artisan, make filament, relation manager. The parent resource is going to be role resource, and we're going to be, oh, sorry, no. It is going to be user resource. It's going to be roles, that's the name of the table, and the name that we're going to connect it with is, well, name. So let's go ahead and get that going. And now you can see in the user resource, we now have a relation manager. And if we open that up, that's just what it looks like, just like the permissions table. Okay, so now we need to register this in the user resource. Get relations. And then it's going to be roles, relation manager, class. Pretty sure that's it. Let's take a look. Very cool. So our user has the role of moderator. Again, you can create a new role. And that's pretty much it. I'm not really sure how you would add permissions to this, but I'm sure with all of the information I've given you, you're clever enough to figure out how you would be able to do that with the relation manager. But as far as I'm concerned, I am happy with just having this here. Let's go ahead and add our icon, and let's move it down here as well. You can close this, and I'll copy it from the role resource. And this is just going to be users, and I believe that that's correct. Let's take a look. It's been moved down here, and that was the correct icon. We've pretty much finished setting up our users, and we still have a lot to do, but we're going to take care of that in a future episode. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and click that like button, as it really does help out the channel. Here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and here's a playlist to follow along. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.